Episode 51 of the Bunnycast, recorded on September 10th, 2011.
Apollo, babe, we've got some ideas for some really excellent shows. We want you to listen to them. Here's the pitch. Live, action, pottery. What do you think?
That's it. Live action pottery.
Yeah, it'll be fantastic. No, not going for that one. Okay then.
There's another one in the back.
I don't have all day. Keep going. Come on.
Okay.
He go with this one.
Killerfish and his sidekick Squato, who he hits a lot.
That could work. Though
Okay.
I think if Death entered the picture, that might be a little bit better. You know, that I actually might... The audience might buy that more.
Okay. Corsets for the tall women with Dame Helen.
I do like Tall Woman, but not sure about Dame Helen.
Okay. I've got one last one. Quantum leak, cooking with large hadron colliders.
No.
And not telling you, am I? Squato, think of an idea quickly.
The Devil versus Lassie, a deep psychological analytical film going into the psyche of Lassie as he's shown to be the evil creature that he is, and the devil has to come out and fight him to save the world from the total destruction that can only come from something that is so cute and so highly regarded.
I think it'd be better if we either had a giant spider
And I'll
or
get
a giant
hurt a lot in it.
jellyfish. Really?
Yes.
All right. You know what? I'm sold. 12 million your way. See my person, your person will see that person. We'll get the paper signed, and it'll be good. I like it.
Excellent. You won't regret this at all.
Oh, I'm sure I will.
Sometimes the dreams come back and seem so real to me. The sky turns so cold and black. I'm scared of what I see, but I'm not afraid no more. You vanquished my fears. You gave me the reason to laugh and stole all my tears.
Greetings and welcome to another episode of the Bunnycast. Yes, it is episode 51, because we are just that old at this. I am your hostess, Dame Helen, the LeatherClad. With me today is Sir Lord Killerfish.
The Honourable Right Reverend Lord Sir Helennet of the Keenfans.
Thank you. You have to do that frequently. And,
I thought you would have just referred to him as it by this stage because you keep stuffing it up.
well, that's what I refer to you as. And as you can hear, we have Squato, our whipping boy. And also joining us today is our guest host, Apollo Z. Hack. Squato,
Hola.
why don't you do a little bit of a 1,000-foot view of why Apollo is here for us, and then we'll get into the rest of the podcast.
Well, he's back from the dead.
Oh, there we go. Okay, good enough. Let's keep going.
I'm not quite dead.
He's only mostly dead.
Okay, so for those
By
who...
mostly we mean he was erased from the universe. Well, edited,
got
I should
better.
say.
For those of you who are unfamiliar with the Bunnycast, the Bunnycast is the official podcast of the Bunny community. The Bunny community is the official community for the webcomic El Goonish Shive. El Goonish Shive can be found at EGS Comics and is the official webcomic for Dan Shive. Dan Shive is not the official anything other than the official Dan Shive.
The Great Squirrel.
Now, how we got to be bunnies is the community who had been forming fairly large and popular at that point, went to Dan and said, "We need a name." Dan said, "You name yourselves." We said, "We don't want to name ourselves." Dan said, "You're bunnies." He was hoping we would pick a better name, and we said, "Yay, we're bunnies!" And Dan said, "Ah, damn it."
To be fair, that actually worked a bit better than when Alan Moore's beard wanted to be shaved, because they turned up to him saying, "Shave us," and he simply whispered, "No."
And he needs a shave. Okay, so the comic. Squato, you did have something that you wanted to say about the most recent comic. Why don't you enlighten us, please?
Yeah, I was, as you should have been, ever so slightly thrown in a good way by panel 6.
Let's see, panel
Ellen's
6.
line of, "How quickly can I undo my girlfriend's bra?"
What's wrong with that?
Did I say there was a problem?
And mass male brain freeze has occurred across the nation.
Zach, in case you didn't know it, here's the image. Or hacking it.
Yeah, egscomics.com for those who are wondering exactly what the heck we are talking about. Right now, there is a double date going on between, without getting too much into the backstory, the lesbian couple of Ellen and Nanase, and the... We're not even going to get into the sexuality of Ted and Grace. Apparently...
Grace is Ted sexual, that's all you need to know.
Yes, and Ted, we not quite sure, and I'm going to leave it right there.
Mass speculation occurs.
Now, as far as Ellen's statement in panel 6 of the current comic, I'm simply going to refer everybody to the last comic for August 16th, or the last panel of the comic on August 16th, I should say. You know that dream we all had of dating Nanase someday? Yeah. That dream is dead, but something magical has taken its place. That's about
lesbians and seafood. That's what magical. That's what magic
Wait a second.
is.
I've seen enough hentai to know where this is going.
We've got a guest on. We have to ask the question. Apollo, lesbians or waffles?
Oh, man, that's a tough choice. Can I have lesbian waffles?
That kind of seems to be the default answer, but I don't know. Should we let it
Just
be
like merging Star Wars and Star Trek, so you have the most epic of emerged universes going on. And yes, that is a reference to the comic. I should put it out to you, Hack.
Yeah, yes, the fully functional
Some androids.
Yes. Okay.
Apparently, because apparently there is an MMO in the comic, which is basically the two universes combined.
Nice.
So, for those of you who, again, have not read Alguna Shive, please, absolutely, go and take a look at it. If you go back to the very beginning, the art style is...
Not atrocious.
It's not super terrible, but there's definitely been better. It's about what you'd expect from somebody who has recently left high school, and frankly,
Which really was the case.
Yeah, it really was the case. And obviously, Dan Shive has really taken his art improvement seriously. He's got a Twitter feed, Dan the Shive, if you are on Twitter, where he will post stuff about how he does his art, and he's also got a DeviantArt page. It's just Dan Shive, isn't it?
Actually,
Yeah, it's Dan Shive.
Okay. Great. All right, so let's move on into our forum news. Bringing up the forum here. As per usual, we're going to do some newbie introduction. It's been a little while since we've done newbie introductions, so I'm really hoping that we have some new newbies. We have a thread started by Ariana. It's simply titled, Hi. Not terribly creative, but these are noobs. So
They're noobs. They're there to be thrown in front of people and
glomped hard.
glomped.
Yes.
just don't rape them too hard. Sorry.
I keep telling you, keep Troy away from the noobs.
I can try, but there's only so much one man can do.
Fair enough. Okay, so moving on to the next one, we have Lyricality. That's a very clever new name. And forum thread entitled "Nice to Meet You," again under the newbie intro forum. Another TV troper coming in, which is really awesome. I don't know what it is about TV tropes that brings people to EGS, but whatever they're doing it right. Next up is Sparrowhawk, spelled Sparrohawc. And the thread is entitled "I'm doing this all out of order," and they're saying that because apparently this is not their first post, which is fine. That's not how I did it either. I was kind of made... Basically, I started posting to the other forum threads, and somebody, I think it was Anti-Paragon, came to me and said, "You will go to the newbie thread." I'm like, okay. Next up, we have Poldovico. Poldovico. I'm not even going to pretend to pronounce that. Some thread titled simply "Hi." Just started reading EGS recently, and then lastly, for today's round of newbie intros, we have Omniscrage. And I like this guy already. A thread titled "Mortals, a new god walks among you."
That sounds like my kind of.
I like him as well too. This guy, keep an eye on him.
I do actually have some forum news, and it's actually vaguely related to something that's happened on one of these podcasts. You know,
Okay.
a few months ago when we had that weird guy, BT Smythe, who came on and tried to take over the show.
Yes, the guy had to pry out of here with crowbar. Go on.
Yeah, apparently he tried to take over Sky News as well. And on the forums, there is actually a... Hang on, let me pull it up. There is actually a link where you can see him attempting to hypnotize people via Sky News. So,
You do know he did the wrong thing. He simply should have actually have gone on to the BBC, because the BBC will take anyone.
you know,
That I couldn't have said it better. You do this good conservative proud. Anyways,
I'm trying to find the link. I shall probably search that down for you by the end of the show, and we will put it up. People can-
after the credits, after the closing music, we have this last thing from Killerfish. Oh, and the link is.
Homer, because of your saying I do a good conservative proud, I'm now changing my news and my review to being Tea Party's Zombies Must Die about that.
Okay, moving on to
Considering the fact I'm the commissar of the Socialist Bunny Republic, apparently.
that makes total sense. Moving on to other foreign news. Abigail posted a question to the. This is the EGS general discussion. Question: don't you think the reason Susan's father's face is not revealed because it would show something we would really not expect? I believe this is actually an old question from back in the Keenspot days of the forums. However, it's always good to see a relative new bunny deciding to reintroduce old questions, because sometimes the new bunnies, of which we've had many, many since that reveal took place, sometimes the new bunnies will actually have things to say that others may not have thought of that have been around much longer. On the other hand, we tend to get a lot of retread about old arguments too. In any case, if you want to join in the discussion, it is now 3 pages long. Again, that is in the EGS general discussion. Next up in the art gallery.
Oh, wait, I've actually found the link.
Yeah,
Do you want me to?
I'm getting there.
Okay, sorry. Cowards.
In the art gallery, we have a post entitled Greg Fandom, also 3 pages long. It's basically people who really, really like Greg, Sensei Greg from the comic. And so far, what I've seen is pretty darn good. If you like seeing weird and wackiness from anime-style martial artist Sensei Greg, go ahead and take a look at it. Again, that is the Greg Fandom thread in the Art Gallery forum. Next up, from the off-topic forum, we have a question from one of the noobs that we just introduced, Lyricality, asking who your favorite bands are. And so if you want to pop in and let the rest of the bunnies know, if these are the bands we hate because you like them, to paraphrase Red vs. Blue, go ahead and poke your head in there, and that about covers forum news, except for the attempted thread takeover by BT Smythe in the if you back out into the 910 CMX community and go into PA system and go into the Convention thread, or Convention forum, I should say, in the UK meetup thread, is a embedded video featuring BT Smythe. That actually looks pretty good. So, all right, that.
Yes, he's quite a weird guy. I don't know where they dug him up.
Look at the hair.
Yeah, that's just silly. He's obviously a mad scientist.
That covers the forum news and the comics, so let's jump into our first commercial. For those of you who, again, may be tuning in fresh, we are a for-profit enterprise. The Bunnycast is part of the Bunnycast network. We are a small but growing network of shows featuring, of course, the Bunnycast. This is our flagship production. We also have From the Left and the Right. That's a podcast featuring myself and my mom. She is the left-wing blue dog Democrat. I am the right-wing conservative Tea Party conservative. Redundancies, friend. I can't believe I did that.
Redundant acronym syndrome.
You agree with yourself, so therefore you're redundant.
I blame you, Squato, just because it's the thing to do. Coming back to the Bunnycast network very soon now, we're working out the final kinks and getting everything back up and running, is going to be Bunnycast Live. In order to tune into that, you have to tune into Ustream. In order to participate in the chat room, you have to have a Ustream account. But other than that, all you have to do is watch my Twitter feed, because you never know when Bunnycast Live is going to strike. And also, coming soon to the Bunnycast network is going to be Fanfiction Club. That's right, we've been talking so much about fanfiction on the Bunnycast that we decided to spin it out into its own show. It's
mutated. It's alive. Alive!
It's going to feature myself, the Right Reverend Honorable Lord Sir Killerfish of the ever-expanding title. It's going to also feature the bane of my existence, Squato, and we're going to do our damnedest to bring in all sorts of great guests and co-hosts, including... We've already got lined up the author of the Sailor Sun Saga, which is now its own webcomic at, I believe it's sailorranco.com.
That's correct.
Thank
Which
you.
is also on 910, this forum.
Also on 910. Her name is Rebecca Heineman. You may know her better as Burger Becky. Also, the creator of the Bard's Tale video game series. Yes, she is the one that did the original Bard's Tale way back in the day. So we really look forward to that, and we hope to see everybody joining us for that. But of course, for all of this, we do require that we have a little bit of cash to keep us going. And right now we are relying upon the good nature of our fellow bunnies and listeners that decide to come in and partake of these podcasts.
Send us money, you'll be lowered on the list.
So if you would like to make a donation to help keep everything going and going nicely here, you can send whatever donations you choose to do to bunnycast@gmail.com via PayPal. Or if you have some other monetary means of sending us money via email, you're more than welcome to do so.
I can scan money on my scanner and send you the picture of it.
And no, we don't take whatever the heck that credit fee that DeviantArt uses.
No, we do not take DeviantArt things.
Nor do we take achievement points.
And I say the one with that because one of the bunny artists, they actually said, I'm going to open myself up for commissions, here's the rough things. And the immediate reaction is, I have 2 DeviantArt credits. How much does that get me? And the person's reply was, what? Oh, these are the credits you use with this. And like, and?
That don't pay the electric bill!
These are the faux monetary systems that we've set up so that people don't have to actually pay money to get things. Yeah, we still want money.
All right, jumping into our news segment. And Apollo, you have been fairly quiet. Again, feel free to just steamroll any of us whenever you want to say something.
Oh, no, I'm just listening.
Okay. Hey, we have a live listener!
Right.
We haven't shocked him out of existence yet, so we're working on it.
All right, for the miscellaneous news, I'll go ahead and start things off. We had here in San Diego a fairly significant power outage, and by fairly significant, I mean it started in Arizona, went all the way to the west coast, started in Orange County, and went all the way down into Baja, Mexico. So when I say fairly significant, I'm talking maybe not quite as big as the massive 5-state Eastern Seaboard one we had a couple years ago, but it was quite big.
Can I reference Nelson with this one?
What was that, Apollo?
I was just saying, what parts of Arizona did it hit?
Started in Yuma, so fairly close to the border, but...
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. I'm in Phoenix, so we didn't get hit. So,
Yeah.
anyways.
That's where my wife is from. How is it in hell, anyway?
Hell. Satan says hello and all that fun stuff.
I'll pass that on to my wife. It's been a while.
He still owes me money. Get on to him about that.
I'll
Must
try.
not make jokes about mother-in-law. Okay.
I was going to say, because of that, am I allowed to actually quote Nelson here?
Who's what? Hey, okay.
Nelson from The Simpsons.
You have to ask if you're allowed to make a joke now. I like this system. Keep it up, please.
Now, I will say, one of this power outage, somebody on, I think it was my LinkedIn account, posted, no, it was Facebook, they posted the very pithy quote, and I'm going to try to bring this up from memory, so I may be quoting it wrong. The difference of a few dozen miles. Los Angeles, power outage. Riots and looting. San Diego, power outage. Party! Seriously, that was the atmosphere. I was going to go to a rehearsal. This was Thursday night this happened. So 2 days ago, as of the 10th of September 8th when this happened. I was going to go to a rehearsal for a rock and roll performance that I'm part of. And my wife was going to class. We didn't realize when the power went out, as we were packing up to get out the door, that it extended as far as it did. We just thought it was going to be, because we had a 3-day heat wave. Temperatures were in the hundreds for hours a day. And I know you Phoenicians, that's not uncommon for you, but here in San Diego, that was shockingly unusual. So everybody had their ACs all cranked. Everybody was running as many fans as possible. Basically driving electricity usage through the roof for San Diego. So we expected power would go out. We didn't expect the entire San Diego region to go. So
the power cut is entirely the fault of the people of San Diego.
Yes. So my wife goes off to her class. We drop off our daughter at our daycare provider, and I go off to my rehearsal. Once we get to all three places, we start to realize how widespread this is. I managed to get just enough cell signal on the 3G network to take a look at the LA Times, because of course all San Diego region's news services were blacked out. And the LA Times finally gave a good report of how big it was. That they were very quick. I'm normally not a big fan of the LA Times, but they really were on the ball with this news story. They had the complete breakdown within 18 minutes of the power outage starting. That was awesome.
Wow.
Yeah. But as my wife and I got back home, I want to say about within 20 minutes of each other. My wife got a ride, I got a ride, so it all worked out. And we decided to walk to the daycare provider because it's only about a mile away. And on the way there, we kept passing these businesses that were open, running on candlelight, or a couple of them happened to have some gas lanterns that they just kept for ambience and atmosphere. That hey, it provides lighting for the business. The gas, of course, was working just fine. Natural gas for those who might live in regions where it's not called that. Anyways, so like we passed a pizzeria selling slices of pizza, $2 a slice. You didn't get a lot of choice because they couldn't refrigerate any of the pizzas once they came out of the oven. So it was, if they happened to have made an Italiano, you got a slice of Italiano. If they happened to make pepperoni, you had pepperoni. If you had cheese, you had cheese. But it was $2 a slice. That was our dinner for that night.
That's awesome.
There was so
you get a salmonella poisoning bonus and whatever other poisoning you want with it.
The nearby grocery store had lines literally wrapping around the store, but there was this little corner store across the street that was open, ready for customers, and that's where we went to get our emergency supplies because their line was very short, whereas the grocery store line was around the block. It was literally right across the street. It's like, come on, people.
Thus, once again, proving that people are only as smart as the half the IQ of the least intelligent person of a mob.
Exactly. And we kept passing business after business that first off, the majority of the businesses were closed because, most people think, power's out, I'm going home. But so many businesses, it was so awesome to see. There was this one bar and grill. They literally took their portable grill that they normally use for catering, just set it up on the sidewalk outside, dragged a bunch of tables out to the sidewalk, and started serving people right there.
Wow.
Yeah, it was so awesome to see this. It was literally a party atmosphere all the way to and from. The daycare provider, the downstairs neighbors were all out and they were all playing. Our daughter was dead tired, so we had to put her to bed and stay in the apartment. But it was really awesome to see the really, really beautiful side of San Diego like that. And the best part was when the power came back on at about 11 at night for us, that's when the heat wave ended.
I was going to joke because of the reaction that happened with Las Vegas. Well, if people go, well, why did it happen there? That would be because of the fact that there is basically nothing there, and their entire industry has collapsed because no one's spending money, gambling.
What are you talking about, Las Vegas? I was talking about Los Angeles.
Oh, I know, but because you also... you said Los Angeles was the one that rioted. It sounded like Las Vegas before, sorry.
Okay.
Smack!
This segue has been provided by Squato. Thank you, Squato, for providing quality segues since 2006.
So much for me joking about how there's nothing in Las Vegas. Well, even less now than before.
Less for you. Okay, Squato, you have a news item here. I'm not quite sure what you're referring to.
Well, I was going to
take
talk
about 10 minutes of pillow, so can go get yourself a pillow or something like that.
Squato, go ahead.
I was going to talk about the guy suing Microsoft for $500 billion. Was going to talk about the how there was all these secret details from the Australian government and the Australian Defence Force released on their own website by mistake. Or the bad version of Dead Island being put on Steam, or even the Liberal Agenda. But really the thing that got my thing was the penises on Google Maps.
Oh, dear. Okay, you're going to have to explain this.
Okay, basically what happened is that the Google, I got the Google Map vehicle goes driving around its different locations.
Right.
Apparently what happened is that in rural Victoria, the car pulled up into a location because the guy either needed to get lunch or had to go to the bathroom. Now, you can actually see in the photos these kids, and they're the local ones, and they saw it was there. So what they did was that they climbed onto the vehicle without the guy realising it, and they drew penises on the camera.
Oh.
And as I said, it's a very Australian thing, because if there's one thing about Australians, they will always have a chance to draw penises. And they like drawing penises on things, yes. So, yes. They drew the penises on there, and Google's reaction was, they didn't even realise that this is how good their systems are, because you know how they have the big process of everything gets checked from as soon as it's offloaded from the camera, it's immediately put on to the people that protect it, so that's then given to Google, then they put it through this whole process, things like that. None of them picked it up.
You're kidding.
The only way they didn't. The only reason it got picked up is when people went, hang on, there's penises on the Google Maps now. So Google's reaction was, we're going to pull this. Except the people of the local community wanted to be left there.
Oh.
That just tells you so much about Australia.
So we're about to earn our not safe for work rating. So what you're saying is they really love the cock.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I do.
They also like pigs as well. Sorry, were you talking about something else?
Thank you, Killerfish, for keeping it classy.
I will do a quick one on. I will do a quick one on the side for that guy that was trying to sue Microsoft for $500 billion. Yes, that number is actually real. Apparently, it's because he's suing Microsoft because he reckons there's a part of the is it EULA?
Yeah.
basically the terms of
the
service.
end user license agreement. Go on.
Yes. Basically, he reckons there's a component of that which is not really legal, and he reckons the way that is that if he decides to change what that agreement is on his behalf, Microsoft has to enforce it, and if they don't enforce it, they have to actually pay the consequences. And he's decided that he's going to charge them he's going to sue them for $500 billion for not actually implementing his required change, because he requested it in writing. Here's the thing: his in writing thing was actually him uploading a video showing that he had the written thing, uploading it onto YouTube, not sending it to anyone at Microsoft or anything like that, and this was uploaded 5 minutes before the deadline.
Right. I'm not a lawyer, but I can imagine a judge tossing that one out of court really quick.
Yeah, I love the fact is this guy is legitimately feeling that Microsoft is going to pay him $500 billion.
Well,
You'll be lucky if they pay him $5.
if you're gonna fail epically.
To be fair, he has a slight point with his issue with the agreement, but the key word is slight.
Yeah,
Search that.
Certainly not $500 billion worth.
Yeah, search that one yourself. It's absolutely fucking hilarious seeing what this guy was trying with it.
So let's get a little bit serious. Killerfish, go ahead with your headline.
Yes, as you have heard earlier on in the broadcast, we are recording on September the 10th. September the 10th, 2011.
Sorry, happy birthday for you, Homer, because it is your birthday now for me.
Yeah, it's for those unfamiliar, yes, my birthday is on September 11th. Go on, Killerfish.
Yes. This was what I was trying to get to. That we're recording on September the 10th. That means tomorrow is September the 11th and the 10th anniversary of the Two Towers. And I feel that this is a good point to look back over those last 10 years and see how it's affected us as a planet, basically. And yeah, I could go on, but I want to get some kind of discussion going here.
Fair enough. I actually, here in the States, there's actually the Discovery Channel is doing a thing, and Nova's doing a thing about basically the reopening of Ground Zero as a memorial before the actual World Trade Center rebuild project is complete. And I was watching the Nova special a couple days ago, and I'm going to be recording the rebroadcast that happens tomorrow. They have. I strongly suggest people watch this. By the way, if you can possibly at all get your hands on a copy of it, or watch it on Netflix if it ever comes around, or if Nova posts it to their Hulu account, do absolutely watch it. It is absolutely a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful thing to see what they are doing to memorialize the World Trade Center deaths. I mean, speaking as an American, it's almost like when 9/11 happened, to allegorize this, to the nth degree, it was like we got shot. The invasion of Afghanistan and later Iraq was us trying to stem the bleeding, us actually capturing a lot of, capturing or killing a lot of terrorists in the process was, kind of patching up the wound. And this September 11th, when we actually open up the memorial, and it's an absolutely beautiful memorial, I've got to say, is going.
Well, there is family members of people there are suing for it because they don't want it to be. They feel it's actually an insult to the personal memory of the people that lost their lives.
Yeah, well, there's always going to be tools. There are people who sued. Okay, I'm going to get to that in just a second. Let me finish up my thought. The reopening of Ground Zero for the memorial purposes is kind of like when we finally started the full actual healing. We're patched up. The bullet's been pulled. The bleeding's been stopped. We are now in actual recovery.
And we're going to the psychiatrist to get over the trauma.
Well, we're Americans. We keep going. That's the thing. One thing to note about the actual memorial itself, the memorial that has been put in place, and again, I think it's absolutely beautiful, is as opposed to a large, spacious building, they are actually building down into the ground, using the footprint of the towers as sort of, the template. If you take the footprint of the towers and then drop that down, I think they said like 25 feet, it's sort of a empty well.
Empty wound. The architect described it as.
Yeah, exactly. And then there's another hole, a squarish hole, perfectly to scale, right in the middle of each of the footprints of the towers that also goes down. And there's cascading water that comes down as gently as they could make that much water cascade down the sides of the well and flow down into the hole in the middle.
It's also green. It's recycled water.
Exactly. And they used parts of the original World Trade Center towers in the construction of this site, and the actual building of the memorial is below ground. It's a museum to the heroes of 9/11, the victims of 9/11. There's names lists of all the people who were victims, of all the civil workers who actually ran in to try and save people. It's an absolutely beautiful, moving memorial monument. Now, on to Squato's point, I want to point out here that yes, there are haters that are going to hate. And when the Vietnam Memorial, the wall, was originally proposed by a student with Vietnamese descent, she was of Vietnamese descent. Some veterans of the Vietnam conflict came out and sued the government to say this is a terrible, terrible, terrible monument. It cheapens the memory of everything that happened. It demeans the soldiers that were lost over there, etc., etc. Basically, everything that these tools are saying about the current monument to the 9/11 victims. What they successfully got was a second Vietnam memorial, which is directly opposite of the wall, of three soldiers. It's a statue of three soldiers, and they've got their accoutrement. When you go there, you don't even see the soldiers. It's almost like it's an after effect. It's there. Okay, who cares? The wall is what captures your attention. And the foundation that's in charge of the upkeep of the wall did a tour with. They had a granite model, we'll call it. It was a one-to-one model where they took these panels of granite and toured around the nation. And when it came here to San Diego, I only found out about this by chance. I happened to be in Balboa Park when they had it there. Just being in the presence of this, it wasn't even the real wall, but it was as close as you can get without rebuilding the monument in San Diego.
Yeah,
it was almost like walking on sacred ground. It was. There's that passage in the Old Testament where it talks about Moses encountering the burning bush and taking off his sandals because it was just that holy and sacred an experience. I was compelled. I almost took off my shoes just because it was that big a deal, that emotionally impactful. And that's what the new World Trade Center monument memorial does for that event, just like the Vietnam Memorial is doing for that.
Which is actually a very good point, because the Vietnam Memorial, the way they've actually done it, which is how cleanly they've polished that granite. Yes, there's names written into it, but they've polished it so cleanly that it's and that will actually last for centuries. That's how clean that is. It's designed so that you come to it and you get in. It's very reflective, which is actually what they wanted with the 9/11 memorial. You get into something that is very reflective. What these other people wanted was, in the case of the people that are suing the 9/11 memorial, was they wanted something that is a big building, which was to be very church-like. That you would come in and very sort of big, sacred sort of thing. Everyone was to come in and be very bowing and very respectful. It was not
the enforced sacredness, the sacredness that's not really sacred. Yeah,
that sort of thing. They said that was the only way to make people remember it. But the making people become reflective is actually the way to do it. It has that longer term impact, which is actually the thing that.
Sorry, I was just going to say, reverence for the sake of reverence isn't real reverence.
No. Whereas, and truth be told, honestly, the best thing that's probably going to come out of anything to do with 9/11 is, in terms of how people are remembering it, is honestly the memorial itself. Because it's simple. It doesn't draw your attention to it, but it draws you in.
Yeah, when this was first proposed, there was two designs that I really liked, and what they wound up picking isn't neither. The one that I really liked, that I thought was just absolutely beautiful, and they should have picked, it had this massive tower that was 1,776 feet tall. It replaced, literally, put the two towers back in place, but bigger, better, fancier.
Was that Freedom Tower?
Yes, that was Freedom Tower. And I thought that would have been perfect, right? But I completely passed over what they wound up picking because I didn't see anything to it. For me, it was like, okay, they're building a building, so what? I can very, now that they've built it, I can very clearly see that the reason that the people who chose the current design, the reason they chose it was for the lack. It's like if you look at the New York skyline right now, where at night they've got the halogen spotlights just stabbing up into heaven in place where the two towers were. It's so moving. It's so powerful.
I was going to say real quick on that, because you did while you were saying that, you reminded me of one a very related to it, the USS Arizona Memorial.
Oh, go on. I hadn't heard anything about this recently. Go on.
No, because the design of it is, all it is that it's actually just the ship itself as it's still underwater, with only the very small part of it that's still sticking up, and for the most part, the part that's the pontoon that's been set up onto it. But that's it. It's the ship itself, and the whoever, I think over 1,000 men are still trapped in it because they're never going to actually recover them, and they've decided to leave them there because this is where they perished. But the key thing is...
thank God they're already dead. They're not just leaving 1,000 men trapped down there being spiteful about it.
But the thing really makes this interesting, and it's the point that you were making, is what you got, I was getting from what you were saying, is it's a living memorial. Yes, it's a ship that's basically rusting away as to a hulk. It's filled with bones and things like that. Why is the hulk of the USS Arizona a living one? Because it's still leaking oil. They deliberately left the oil to leak.
Yep. And that's it's silently, respectfully, mournfully beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
There's really no other way to put it. So,
as opposed to how the media has been doing it, unfortunately.
Yeah. With the unless we have anything else to say on the 9/11 anniversary.
No. I could, as my not very often used job of being the Reverend, suggest to people to keep the 9/11 victims in their thoughts for the next however long it's going to be. But other than that, I can't really do much or say much more.
Yeah. Pretty much the same here. Yes, it's my birthday, but my family has...
It's your birthday. It's your birthday.
My family has taken to celebrating it on another day of the month. It's just, my birthday is in September. We wind up picking a day that everybody's available. And if that happens to be the 11th, then hey, there we go.
Well, if you want, there's that Green Day song for those people that want "Wake Me Up When September Ends."
Anyways, so Apollo, did you have any news that you wanted to throw our way just to get us moving, or are you going to?
I don't think I have anything, especially to add after that.
Didn't mean to overshadow you.
Oh no, not at all.
Okay.
You shocked him into silence. Damn you! Damn you to hell!
I've already been to Phoenix. I left. That's a joke.
You've been to hell and back.
So how was that rebirth? I've got to ask.
He's in Phoenix, of course he's had a rebirth.
Okay, not what? Okay, huh?
Sorry, Squato mentioned rebirth.
Phoenix legend. The bird burns every 1,000 years or whatever, 500 years, and comes back as a new one.
I think Phoenix is called Phoenix because of the burning, not the rebirth.
And I think we're still wallowing in a bunch of ashes over here, so we're still waiting for that bird to pop out.
Well, you're still celebrating Burning Man, then, so go for that.
Okay, let's go ahead and wrap this segment up. Once again, I've been Dame Helen. We've also had Sir Lord Right Reverend Extended Time
The Honourable
Killerfish.
The Honourable Right Reverend Lord Killerfish of the Keenfans.
Joining us as our wonderful honored guest today is Apollo Z Hack, and also, of course, the bane of my existence is Squato. We will be back after this break. You will see us in about a week. Everybody else, stay put and smoke them if you got them.
If you smoke.
The opinions stated in the Bunnycast do not reflect the thoughts of the Bunnycast as a whole and are to be taken lightly. Because of Your Grace by Seth Jeffrey and Super Mario Dance Hall Reggae by McVaff is used without permission and not owned by the Bunnycast.
I've seen enough hentai to know where